What's up, folks? Finally, day number 3, Woodstock 99. My experience at 15 years old at the time, 20 years ago. It's really amazing to think it's been 20 years since that event happened. And it just sucks because of the last day, how it had to end. But it kind of makes sense why it did have to end, like how it did. But shit happens. I had a blast. Let's talk about day number 3. So we had the whole fiasco of getting home late because of no bus, and then having to take another bus before we finally got home. So we didn't get to wake up early to try to get close to see Willie Nelson perform. So we ended up getting up like around the afternoon or so, and we ended up going over to the Ford's house to meet up with Chris and them. And Chris wasn't going to go again. That was too much for him, I think, on Saturday night, just having a blast. And while we were over there, some of my dad's former Griffiths Air Force Base buddies, Dan and Joel, aka Buddha, rest in peace, sir. He actually passed away this year, but they ended up meeting us up at Chris's house because they had already been to the first 2 days. And so we're like, well, let's all hang out on the third day and chill from that moment. So on the third day, my friend Charles, his friend Josh, and Charles's friend or their friend Mike was going to go with myself, my dad, Dan, and Joel. We just had to wait for Mike's mom to show up because she went to go buy them tickets. And that kind of took a while because we were all getting antsy. It's like, dude, it's the last day. It's like, let's try to get there and have fun and whatnot, and see what other bands, because the Red Hot Chili Peppers were performing that night. And that's one of my top 5 favorite bands. I want to see the Chili Peppers. So finally, Mike's mom ends up showing up with the tickets. We're like, thank God, finally. So Chris, he gets everybody all in his vehicle and drop us off at the Mohawk Plaza. And once we get there, I think the buses, same thing. It was just like super packed. But then we overheard somebody say, hey, you guys could just walk there. Like they're actually letting people walk through the gates to Woodstock. So my dad and you guys just want to walk? We're like, yeah, that's fine. It's not that far of a walk since we used to live there. So we end up walking there, and once we get to the place where you're supposed to show your ticket and the wristband, there was no security at all. All the security was just like gone. I don't know if they just abandoned ship after Saturday night, or they just were just tired and just from the heat because it was just hot and everything. I mean, Sunday wasn't that bad. It was kind of cloudy because it was supposed to rain and stuff, and I think it was the leftover rain actually from Metallica, because it actually did rain during Metallica, which actually felt nice that night since it was so damn hot. But I actually had a sunburn on the back of my neck, and it just sucked because when the rain would hit, it would hit my sunburn, and it hurt, but then it felt good. But anyways, though, but yeah, there was no security. Like, everybody was gone, so people were just able to walk into Woodstock like it was nothing. So we get in there. Actually, the wall, part of the Woodstock wall was already torn down. Just missing. I don't know if people were just taking parts of the plywood or what, but they were gone. We actually had to walk through Tent City, where we actually ended up coming through. Yeah, so as you can see, yeah, that's part of the camping. Part of the camping was right there. I don't know. I think we came in. That's where we came in at, because the west stage is already down here. So we came in through the north gate because the buses would drop you up over here. So once we were walking past through there, you could see all the tents, and it just looked like a tornado went through. All the tents were just flat, trashy. There was trash everywhere. It was just ridiculous just seeing that. Like I said, it literally looked like that a tornado had gone through. So once we get through, we ended up walking over to one of the food tents, and I think I ended up getting like a turkey sandwich or something, which was like $5, but it was actually decent compared to the other food that I had seen that was way overpriced. I think they had like calzones there too and pizzas and stuff like that, but just turkey sandwich just sounded good and $5, which was really wasn't all that bad. And what sucks about me not having my day 3 pictures, because those were some of the best pictures I had. There was a picture of me and Charles, and we were both eating, and we were kind of like making a face like that because it just stunk, just from the trash, the porta potties. I did not once use the bathroom in the porta potties there because I think I ended up just holding it. Um, People were actually going pee like on the wall. So if you're a dude, they were just facing the wall like it was a urinal, just peeing right there. Just because of how bad the porta potties were, just over. I heard that they were overflowing. I think my dad went to go use one, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna use that." He's like, "There's poop like all over the place." It's like, it's just crazy how people get like that. But yeah. So it stunk bad. So after we got our food and everything, we ended up walking over to the merchandise tents because my dad was looking for a bandana for one of my uncles, and I think me and the boys, we were just hanging out over by the body painting tent and just seeing seeing what was going on over there. Shit, 15 years old. At least I was. I can't remember how old the difference is between Charles. I know he's younger than me. But yeah, so we were just over there, and then my dad couldn't find a bandana for my uncle. But I remember my dad saying he came back and he was muddy. I was like, "What happened to you?" He's like, "Oh, I got attacked by one of the mud people. They were going around giving people hugs, so I ended up having to hug a mud person." And when they went to go hug Dan, they got mad at him because he was wearing a poncho since it was supposed to rain that day. So they were all pissed off about that. But it was just funny though. But in the distance where the west stage was, that's where you could see where the clouds were coming in, and you could tell it was going to be a shit storm of a storm if it did come through. So as we were walking over to the east stage, like I said, there was just trash everywhere. Like I said, I'm just so pissed off how I don't have those pictures, but I had pictures where it just showed the ground, and there's just, like I said, just garbage everywhere. It looked sad just seeing my former home, even though I didn't live on the flight line, but still though, it was the air base where I lived at. Just seeing it all trashy like that. So we get over to the east stage, and Elvis Costello was performing, and it was cool because it was just him and some dude playing the piano. So Elvis Costello was playing his guitar, singing, and then the guy playing the piano, I guess, doing backup vocals. So it was kind of cool, just something mellow compared to to the events of Saturday. He gets off the stage. Again, I really don't remember anything in between the bands that much other than Friday when they were having Andy Dick, and I think they had other people too, and of course Mini Me Saturday night to announce Limp Bizkit. But I think they just had the producers like, "All right, folks, this is coming up next over on the west stage. They have this person coming up next." So after Elvis Costello was Jewel, and she was pretty awesome to see. She was one of my favorites to see perform. She did an encore, which was kind of cool because no one else did encores, I think, other than Metallica. And she came out and sang "Angel Standing by herself. And then at the end of the song, she ended up yodeling. And so that was kind of cool and weird just to hear her yodel. But I know during her set, it started to rain. It wasn't nothing real bad. But during her set, it started to rain. And we were looking for something to cover ourselves up with, because where we had walked, it was over by, I don't even have a picture of it. I wish I did. Well, I kind of do. Since we're actually over here where that screen was. We were hanging up over here because there was actually kind of like a hill. Because right there, that was the MTV thing, and we were actually chilling right over there on day 3. I forgot to mention that. So that's where we were hanging out at. So we had a pretty good view of seeing the stage, the screen, and then literally right behind us was the MTV thing. So like Kurt Loder was there. I don't think Carson Daly was still there. But we got to see them just chit-chatting with whoever. So that's where we were at for Jewel. So we were just trying to find something to cover ourselves up with, and we ended up finding a tarp just out of the blue. So once once we all grabbed the tarp, like I said, Dan's in a poncho. Joel, I don't think he cared that he was getting wet. It's like, yeah, it's just water. But all of us were like, ah, we don't want to get wet. And my dad starts sniffing. And then he realizes, well, then we realize that it's just covered with pee. So we end up just throwing the tarp down. And we're like, ah, gross, got pee on us. Well, I end up finding a pizza box, and luckily that was empty. So I'm just holding the pizza box like that over my head because I didn't want to get my camera wet all that much either. But then, like, these group of kids come by, they find the tarp and they just cover themselves, and we're just like, yeah, go ahead, as long as you're dry and you don't care about it, or like whatever. But yeah, finally the little storm passes us by, and there was actually a dude that was passed out, laying by near us, and people were actually putting trash around him, and he was like laid out like that. So they're putting trash around him. Someone had a sign that said "I love Carson Daly," and they put that next to him. So people were just taking pictures of him. Of course, I took a picture of him, getting pictures with him, just going like that or whatever. And then finally, like, the guy just wakes up and he just sees the trash just like around him. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" So that part was pretty hilarious, just to see that, and just the dude with all the trash. So once Joel's done, Dan and Joel, they head over to the West Stage because they had saw that Collective Soul. Again, remember, they were supposed to perform Saturday, I think it was, but they ended up performing on Sunday instead. So when Dan saw that, he's like, ooh, Collective Soul, and then they saw that Godsmack was right after Collective Soul. Like, yeah, we're going to head over to the West Stage. So my dad was like, all right, that's cool. Like, we're going to be here so we can see the Chili Peppers. So they ended up leaving, and I don't think we saw them for the rest of the night. We kind of just went our different ways from that. But Mike, he actually needed to pee, and we were all telling him, like, dude, just go on the wall. Like, it's literally like 15, 20 yards away from us, and probably a little bit more. And he's like, no. We're like, dude, don't go to the porta potties because they're going to stink, and who knows what the hell you're going to see or catch. But of course, Mike just ended up walking over to the porta potty. We're like, yeah, good luck with that. So Creed, they were the band that was on after Jewel. I wasn't really a Creed fan, still really aren't. But this is in '99, so they really didn't have like any big hits that I'm aware of. They were okay. Every song sounded the same, and we were just like, nah, get off the stage. Like, we really want to see the Chili Peppers. And near the end of their set, the lead singer was talking about how the Doors were supposed to perform at Woodstock '69, but decided not to. And he ended up having Robbie Krieger, the guitarist of the Doors, another favorite band of mine, be there at '99 and perform with them. So it was pretty cool to see Robbie Krieger from the Doors perform on stage. And they ended up performing Roadhouse Blues, which was really awesome. And I think it started to rain a little bit, so they kind of timed out Riders on the Storm perfectly because of the weather that was going on. So that was pretty neat. So Creed gets off the stage finally. I had a picture of these three guys that ended up walking by, and they had like halves of watermelon, and they were using it as hats just because of how hot it was. And so that looked pretty neat. So finally, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are getting prepared to come on the stage, and the weather's like perfect. Like, the sun is out finally. The clouds are all gone. Well, at least the rain clouds are. And Flea comes out onto the stage butt naked like crazy. He runs out onto the stage, dick flapping everywhere. Dude is happy. Crowd is all cheering. Gets his bass on, and they start playing into Around the World. And from what I remember, you could hear the music, but it didn't sound like it was at full volume. It sounded like when you would wear headphones and you put a headphone into the jack, but you wouldn't put it in all the way, so you'd only get half of the music, and then once you finally put it in, boom, there was the music. That happened during Around the World. So like on one of the verses, all of a sudden the music just bah, it just got loud, and then everybody was all happy and cheery about that. One of the highlights for me about that set was hearing Soul to Squeeze. That's one of my favorite songs, and also because I loved it from the Conehead soundtrack. So it was really cool to hear that. During their set, Anthony, the lead singer, was talking about how there's a lot of traditions going on at Woodstock. How uh, how there's like the mud people, how people like to get high, like get blown in the bushes, having sex and stuff like that. I think he mentioned something like people like to come with their mom and dad to Woodstock, whatever, and they got booze from the crowd. Well, he was saying that he wanted to start a new tradition at Woodstock, and that he wanted every woman that is menstruating with a tampon to reach down below, pull out their tampon, and throw it up on the stage. And I forgot to mention before the Chili Peppers came out, the boys and we all told my dad that we wanted to go a little deeper into the crowd so we could get closer. He's like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna hang out up here and just watch the show. Just come back to me when you're done." Well, we got right underneath that screen. Like if you were to look over, the screen was right there. So that's as close as we got to the stage. Yeah, so he ends up talking about the tampon tradition, and as soon as he's like, "All right, I mean it," and so they started playing "Suck My Kiss." So when I hear that song, that's what I think about, is him making that announcement at Woodstock. And I remember we were just like, "Oh, what the hell?" And you actually saw stuff like being tossed on the stage, whether there were tampons or not. I have no clue. So they're performing the song, and then Charles kind of like nudges me. He's like, "Hey, look down." So I ended up looking down. I hadn't seen nothing. I was like, "What?" He's like, "Look down." And again, I didn't see anything. And he's like, "Look by my foot." And by his foot, it wasn't a tampon, but it was a pad. And we were just like so disgusted by it. I think we ended up like walking away at least like 10 yards away from that. We're like, "Oh my God, that's so disgusting." So they ended up performing that. Their set was pretty cool. A lot of stuff from Californication, since that was their new album at the time, and just to see John Frusciante back with them was amazing. Under the Bridge was really cool because everybody had like their lighters or whatever they could. They were out during that song, and that was a really cool picture that I had too. Just that, the sea of lights is what I called it. I remember that. And I think it was during that song and during Me and My Friends, on the screen right there, they're actually showing like little bonfires. We're like, "Oh, that looks cool, a little bonfire going on." So after Me and My Friends, Chili Peppers get off the stage, and John Shear, whatever his name is, John ends up getting back on the crowd or on the stage, and he makes an announcement how there's fires going on at the end of the crowd. I guess where it begins for you to watch for the East stage, how there's fires going on, and that it's not part of the show, that there's actually firemen are on the way, because there wasn't fire trucks on site. I think there might have been ambulances on site, but not fire trucks, because they weren't expecting anything like that. And he was just saying it's not part of the show. If you see any of the fire trucks coming through, please get out of the way so they can go ahead and put out the fires. The Chili Peppers will be back on stage. So stay calm, stay cool. Just watch out for the fire trucks. So a couple minutes go by, and then finally the Chili Peppers come back on stage. I remember Anthony Kiedis was like make way for the firemen, and that he called it like a scene from like Apocalypse Now, because by that time there were more of the bonfires. So they end up performing Sir Psycho Sexy, and they did the Jimi Hendrix cover of Fire. Now, from what I heard, they didn't perform Fire because of the fires. I heard that Jimi Hendrix's sister was there on the side for his tribute and had asked them, since they have done Fire as a cover and on an album, if they could perform it there at Woodstock, because it made sense. Since that was the 30th anniversary of '69, why not? So they ended up performing that, and it just fit perfect because of the atmosphere. So they perform that, they get off the stage, and they still go ahead with the Jimi Hendrix tribute. And what it was, they had like a screen that came down, and it showed just him doing his rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. And they had like all these lasers going off, and then there was like a laser outline of Hendrix holding his guitar like that, since he's left-handed. And then all of a sudden you just saw it kind of like raise up like that, like if it was going to heaven or whatever. And then all of a sudden after the lasers, it said peace, love, and goodbye. And you hear people be like, what? Like, that's it? Like, it just felt a little anticlimactic. Like, I guess just expecting something more, or even like fireworks. I mean, maybe there was something planned, but because of those fires going on, they probably had to cancel it, because there was a lot of rumors going around Saturday and even Sunday that there was going to be a surprise band after the Jimi Hendrix tribute. I remember people were saying like they heard that like Prince was not auditioning, what is it, like practicing like at a stage somewhere in New York, or that Bruce Springsteen was going to be there, or who else was it? The Rolling Stones, or Guns N' Roses, or even Aerosmith, because I think Aerosmith was originally going to be at Woodstock, but they had to pull out. But they're thinking, oh, maybe they're going to come back. But there was all these rumors going around, but like none of that happened, obviously. So after the Chili Peppers, me and the boys, we ended up finding my dad. Like, it wasn't that far off. And my dad's like, you ready to go? It's because we already knew shit was going down because of the fires. And when we were starting to head out, Charles's mom, Cindy, his sister Megan, and her friend, I don't know how, but it was literally like a needle in a haystack. They ended up finding us right there, and I can't remember why they went to find us. I don't know if they were just there to see the show or what. I don't know. I'm going to ask Charles or Megan, because I still talk to them from time to time, and see if they remember, if their mom remembers why they went looking for us on Sunday. Because I don't think it was because of the fires, because that would be kind of weird. They're like, oh, let's go there to go find them. Like, we were there with my dad and Dan and Joel at the time, but still though. So like, we're like, how in the hell did you guys find us? So it was really like a needle in a haystack. So I remember all of us, we got our picture taken like in front of the stage while we're still there, while things were still calm. Earlier in the day, my dad and I had gotten our picture in front of the stage. I think it was right after Jewel. So like the setting was actually still nice. And again, I wish I still had those pictures, and I really hate that I don't. And it just sucks. But you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, so we ended up heading back. I think we ended up walking out the same way we were trying to, and like as we were walking over there, like you just see all the chaos happening. It wasn't as bad while we were leaving, but you could definitely see where the fires were going on. People just throwing stuff around, trying to get those fires up as much as they could. I'm not crying. It's just itches a little bit. But yeah, like it was just kind of crazy just seeing all that shit just going on. It's like, holy fuck, dude. It's like, damn. And we were just walking just normal. It was happening more towards the middle than anything. Yeah, because let me show you. So that's where the Chili Peppers were performing. So we were just walking back. Yeah, they were performing there. So we were just walking back, just like right here, just normal. All of the stuff, like I said, was happening just like right in there. In all actuality, we actually did go down this way. That's where we exited out towards where the west stage was. Like I said, all this shit was gone, because we ended up coming in this way, and we just ended up walking down this way just to see what was going on. And like I said, all that was gone. I mean, the wall stuff, but that's where the fires were going on right here and stuff. And nothing was really going on over here other than just the wall just being missing and being torn apart. I remember I ended up getting a piece of the wall. It was like a splinter piece, but it was still a pretty big piece. It was like at least that tall. Whatever though, so I ended up taking that with me because I wanted a little souvenir of that wall. And Charles actually got part of the plywood and put it against a piece of the stone that was holding up the wall, and ended up doing like an elbow drop, and people were like chanting like Cactus Jack and like ECW because of wrestling at the time. I remember my dad and Cindy getting after him for doing that, but he didn't care. So anyways, we ended up just walking back to the Mohawk Plaza. We went Went to Dunkin' Donuts again, and like I said, that's where I found those tickets. Just right there, just on the ground. I was like, shit, there's another souvenir that I could get. And we were waiting for Chris, Cindy's husband, yeah, the same Chris, to come pick us up. And pick us up, obviously, I just said that. But he dropped us off, my dad and I, over at Lucy's, the Cologne's house. And so once we walked through the door, like my mom and Lucy were just like so happy to see that we were okay. So by the time we got home, they were watching the news, and that's where the bonfires and stuff were just even worse. They were bigger, the fire was just larger and shit like that. And we're like, yeah, we were there, but it wasn't that bad when we were leaving. But by the time we got to the house, that's where it was just like total chaos, or it just looked insane seeing all of that. And yeah, so that ended the night. That's where I finally took a shower after wearing the same shirt for 3 days, filled with mud, blood, and sweat. It felt so damn good to finally take a shower and just seeing all just whatever just come off of me finally. Like, I still can't believe I wore that same shirt for the whole 3 days. Like I said, I put on fresh deodorant and shit, but I just wore the same shirt, and that was my favorite shirt. But yeah, that's my Woodstock '99 experience. I was 15 years old, and it was, like I said, I had a blast. It was fun. I think what started the whole fires and everything was, I mean, the tickets weren't, I guess at the time it was kind of pricey. It was $150, but that included all 3 days, and then plus the taxes was probably like $180, close to $200. For sure, the food, most definitely the price of water. So that was like $8 or $10. I do remember on one of the days there was a guy that he had a barrel that was like hooked up to a dolly, and he was selling bottled water for $2. And it was the ones that were just like that big. Excuse me, I got the hiccups right now. It was a bottle that was like that big, and he's selling them for $2. And you know that guy made bank off of that. Because this right here, I bought this on the way home, like $1.50, $1.60, because I just wanted to see how much it was. So for them to be charging that much for water at that event was just fucking insane. I remember talking to some people that were actually camping there, and they were saying that when they were going through to the campsite, whatever, they weren't allowed any of the food they brought with them or any of the water they brought with them, that they had to buy everything on site at Woodstock. So they either had to buy their shit from there, or they had to go outside of the Woodstock area and go into Rome to the Mohawk Plaza or wherever and buy food or eat there. So anything that they brought themselves to camp with, they could not eat or drink. So I think that was another thing that pissed them off too, was because of that. And plus that walk from Woodstock, from Griffiths, from that part of the flight line to Rome, I mean, that is a pretty long ass walk. And then the fact it was a heat wave that was going on, so that was super hot. The toilets, like I said, the porta potties were just disgusting. There was trash literally everywhere, no matter where you went. Like I said, just the smells of stuff. Even being over by the food, it's just like, oh man, come on, what's going on? So I really do think that's why the people were getting mad. Not because of Limp Bizkit. Like I said, Limp Bizkit performed Saturday night. There's no way a thing from Saturday night, oh yeah, you know, that was from last night, let's do a riot now. But almost forgot to mention this. They were saying, I do remember seeing these people that were handing out candles to us when we were walking to the stage, to the east stage, and we're like, the fuck we need a candle for? Like, they weren't protesters, they were like some kind of like peace hippie fuckers, and they were handing out candles to people, and I think they wanted them to light them like at the end of the Chili Peppers or like during Under the Bridge, and that's where all those lighters and those lights were from those candles. So I guess having those free candles is like free ignition to help start bonfires, and especially from all the trash that was laying around, that helped them light up all those fires. And so that's what it was. I think it was just the high price of the food. Like I said, from what I did eat, I didn't mind it because it was just a turkey sandwich. Um, but yeah, like I had fun. I mean, the Sunday bands that ended up performing that night, like on the West stage, was Mike Ness, Our Lady Peace, Rusted Root, Seven Dust, Ice Cube, but it ended up being Collective Soul, Godsmack, and then Megadeth ended up closing out the West stage. Then on the East stage, it was supposed to be Al Green, but I heard he didn't show up because of the JFK Jr. stuff. I don't know what that was about with him. But Willie Nelson, the Brian Setzer Orchestra, he would have been amazing to have seen. I love his music. Everlast, and then Elvis Costello, Jewel, Creed, Chili Peppers, and then the Jimi Hendrix tribute. And that's what ended up closing out the Sunday stage. But again, I had a blast. I'm glad I still have the pictures that I do have. The t-shirt. Like I said, this one I don't hardly wear just because I just want to keep it like how it is, because the logo on there, Woodstock 99, the dates, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th. And then on the back, it has all of the bands that performed. I'm pretty sure it has everyone that was on there. Because like I said, originally, I think, yeah, it even shows Fatboy Slim on there. It even says Al Green, even though he didn't show up. Pretty sure Sugar Ray. Yeah, Sugar Ray's on there, even though I said he didn't perform because he ended up getting sick, like on the day of or the day before the show. But it was an awesome experience. I know my dad had fun. Just to say, I went to Woodstock 99 with my dad. But yeah, it was a blast. Like I think it's cool that I went because outside of the East Coast and the New York area, especially around Rome, New York, like how many people can say that they went to Woodstock, or that can say that they went to Woodstock 99. And I'm one of those people since I reside in Texas. Yeah, I went to Woodstock 99. It was a blast. That whole summer was a blast. Because like Star Wars Phantom Menace came out, Austin Powers, Spy Who Shagged Me came out, American Pie came out. That was my freshman year of high school that I started, so that was pretty cool. And like I said, I wore the hell out of my Woodstock 99 tie-dye t-shirt until there was holes in there and I couldn't wear it anymore, and I got sad, and I think I ended up having to throw it away. I wish I would have kept it. But every now and then someone posts the tie-dye shirt on eBay, and I'm thinking about buying it the next time I see it, just so I could have that shirt again. I might wear it once, and that might be it. Maybe a couple times, I don't know. But like even in high school in junior ROTC, there was 3 Justins, and we all needed nicknames since there was 3 of us. And I remember mine was Woodstock, and they're like, Woodstock? I was like, yeah, because I went to Woodstock 99. They're like, holy crap. I was like, yeah. I was there for all that. And yeah, so like I said, 99 was a fun year. 15 years old, went to my first ever concert, and it was Woodstock 99. Yeah, and that's actually, yeah, a picture of myself right there in the Yoda shirt. Charles, my best friend there. I thought I had the one of me with my shirt on with it, but I don't. But yeah, Woodstock was fun. I'm rambling because it's like 6:15 in the morning just to make these videos. But any questions, go ahead and leave it down below and I'll reply to you. Follow me on Instagram, jbailey2112. If you like what you saw, give it a like. Give me a subscribe. I plan on doing more talking videos about random stuff or whatever. I know I say that, but I just got to do it. But in the end, about Woodstock, I like to say, like, was it really love, peace, and music? Or was it love, peace, and fire? Or was it really just love, profit, and fire? And I leave that for you to decide. Thank you for watching these videos, and have a good one.